Hudson is going to jail, and Gary, like,
He couldn't even look at me at the precinct.
exactly. Because he's an insecure dude who thought he was going to do big man shit, but found out real quick he ain't about that life.
Maybe this will change him for the good.
It may not, but that's not your problem no more.
True.
You know, when it comes to the season 9 premiere, Gary played such an insignificant role, which, hey, to be completely honest, after how Gary-centric season 8 was, considering for most of the entirety of the season he was in that hospital room, I'm happy about it. And he was only in the one scene, well, technically two, when the cops burst into the office and he was hiding, underneath his desk. And then later on, when the cop is, getting information from Andy and Zach, and Gary's just, just a shell of himself across the office. And I was really concerned when we had Andy taking a couple of glances over at him, and I'm just like, oh, no, please don't let this be the start of something else. And then even though it wasn't shown on screen, Zach mentioned how at the police station, this man wasn't anything like who he was. Basically, yeah, come to find out he isn't as big as bad. Scary Gary isn't that scary after all. And I was looking at some comments as well as some messages from people about this yesterday. And one person brought up a very good point. The thing is, when it comes down to it, yeah, Gary isn't that big and bad like he thinks he is, because when you compare him and Zach's upbringing, it's night and day. Like, Zach was really out here in these streets, near-death experiences, in and out of jail / prison, whichever one. I think it's mainly jail, though. But when you compare that to Gary, it is not even close. So that's why when he was on the, opposite end of a gun, that's why he froze like a deer in the headlights. I mean, obviously the first time that we saw on screen was Jasmine in season 2, where she shot him with the bullets, but it turned out they were rubber bullets. And of course, in the finale, you had both Hudson and Jasmine have the same gun pointed directly at him. And it makes sense that he's a former shell of himself. Another thing to consider is the fact that this Gary isn't the Gary we know of. I mean, but to be completely honest, even if this was the same Gary prior to the stabbing and had basically the Gary we saw in season 8 finale, even if this was the same Gary from earlier seasons, like without any sort of memory loss or anything, none of that bull crap. If this was the Gary we've known from the jump, I feel like he would react the same way. Because he's probably never been in this direct situation before. I mean, Hudson Oswald, he pretty much thought about how Gary and his crew, aka Gary, and look, I completely understand if you had forgotten this fact, because this was something mentioned in like episode 1 of the series and maybe once or twice in season 1. Gary was a professional athlete, and it's safe to assume that in the high school days he was, a jock, the in crowd, so he ran with others, probably other athletes. And as a result, he had that quote unquote gang, but while he's just rubbing elbows with the popular kids at school, Zach, on the other hand, was out in these streets for real. And of course, he would pick on the weak and defenses like a Hudson while getting the baddest chicks at school. Then from there, no doubt went to college, excelled in sports there, leading to his professional career. And then the transition from professional to business is when we, got more of the Gary who was devious and whatnot, but more so from a corporate standpoint, as opposed to, again, gangster. And then not to mention you had Hudson by his side for who knows how long. And I think that that's one of the major differences there. So I don't think Gary has ever, had a gun pointed at him like that, because he usually has people take care of that kind of stuff for him. He pays off people to, blackmail, extort, do all these kind of things. Yet he's never the one who's in the line of fire. But this time he was, and he couldn't handle it. And that just makes me wonder what will become of Gary now. I'm going to be honest, I don't give a damn. I wish he would have gotten killed or shot or whatever. Well, nah, not shot, because then we'd have another season of him in the hospital. If he would have gotten killed off, I wouldn't have cared. I mean, if nothing else, this entire scenario in the season 8 finale could have been a way to clean house. I mean, let's be real. I said the same thing when that episode aired. I said, well, based off the way things are lining up, Penelope, Rich, Jordan, Tony, maybe even Robin, it's like these characters are going to be written out and we can start fresh in season 9. But no, we are still dragging out most stuff. But yeah, I really do think that we could be looking at the birth of a new Gary. But then again, I really don't care. I just think that at this point, it is solidified, if it hasn't been already, because I think Tyler himself said it. Gary's pretty much going to stick around to the end, which makes no damn sense to me whatsoever. Due to the fact that, you know, this man isn't made. Okay, I remember after the season 8 finale, I think I said something to the effect of, man, it would be wild if this dude got shot, brought back into the hospital, and then that one nurse Erica is like, so about my student loans. It would be funny. But on the other hand, it's like, I was thinking, oh, that could be how the writers bring back Gary's memory. Like, he gets shot, goes through another surgery, and then like through that process, I don't know, a state of shock or the recovery period, he'll get all of his memories back. And then it's like, hey, that whole memory loss thing, who cares? I'm back now. I wonder if he's going to be in shock after what happened with Hudson and Jasmine. And as a result, once he comes out of that, like, state of shock, I know you're tired of me saying shock, everybody. Okay. So basically he comes out of that state of shock and Gary's back to his old self. But it's like, scary Gary it don't hit the same no more because we saw your ass scared. So we'll just have to wait and see how things unfold. Honestly, I'm more invested in the Karen stuff. I cannot believe I'm actually saying that, but I am. And like I joked around before, if Zach was really trying to be comedic, as he was walking out of the office saying that he wasn't going to go down to the police station. Yo, I'm going home. Hey, Gary, I saved your life. You better run me that money back. Because remember, Gary was still holding on to his money that he put into the company. So I wonder if, I wonder what's going to, happen from there. Because Zach saved your ass. So who knows? But then again, I think, wasn't Gary the first one to jump in? And then Zach followed? I forgot. I got to go back. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like it. But regardless, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Do you think we will see a new version of Gary after what went down in the office? Because Andy's saying maybe he'll change for the better. It's like, no, because then if he does, then you're going to fall for him all over again. And it's, I don't know. But let's talk about it in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.